Right. Hello, everyone. This week we are drawing a picture of Godzilla, and you will be able to make your Godzilla any color you want him or her to be, and you'll be able to make any kind of background that you want to have for him or her. But the one thing we're all definitely doing is we're going to add a little crown to our Godzilla. And the reason we're doing that is we are in the third week of Black History Month, and we are learning about the artist Jean-Michel Basquiat. And I'm probably saying that completely wrong. I didn't take French in high school. I took Spanish. And even though it's a French name, he is actually an American artist. He was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York. And as a young boy, he dreamed of becoming a famous artist. He would tell his mom and his dad all the time, I'm going to be a famous artist. I'm going to be a famous artist. And guess what? He's a famous artist, and he has some really neat art, and this is a really nice book about him and his childhood, okay? So if you skipped the video about the book, please go back and watch it, or read the book if you get an opportunity to do that. It is a fantastic book. We do have it in our library here at school. In fact, this is the book. I'll be turning it in next week, and then that way, after that, it'll be after it does its little quarantine in its box, it'll be available for you to check out from Miss BF. So with that said, we're going to go ahead and get to work on our Godzilla. You will need paper, pencil, Sharpie, and something to color with. I used a combination of markers, crayons, and Prismacolors, which are colored pencils. All right, so get your stuff together and let's get started. Okay, we're going to start out by folding our paper. We're going to fold it in half like we usually do, like you're making a book or a card. Then, keeping it folded, fold in half a second time. And again, make very good creases so it lays nice and flat, because we're going to fold it 2 more times than we normally do. So again, keeping it folded, I folded it twice now. I'm going to fold it in half again. And I'm going to have to really use my muscles to get it squished and flat. You have to show the paper who's boss, okay? And then, now here's the true test of your muscles. We're going to fold it in half one more time. Now, if you're in first grade or kindergarten, you're probably going to need a grown-up to help you with those last 2 folds. All right, then I'm going to open it all up and flatten it out. And now this way, I have 16 boxes, and that way I can know where to put things and how big to make them. And so it'll help you get everything with your Godzilla the correct size. Okay, so now we're going to begin the actual drawing part. And if you got to this video from my website, you should have saw this on my flip chart that I have. And this is the first step. We're going to draw an oval for Godzilla's body. And notice that this oval fills up these 2 squares almost completely. It goes top to bottom and side to side. All right? So that would be for these 2 squares right here that I have my fingers on. Okay? I recommend that you take 2 of your fingers and put them on these exact same squares, just like I did. And know that you're going to draw an oval that fills up those 2 squares as much as you can. It will go top to bottom and side to side. If you draw your oval too big or too small, then your Godzilla will not look right. And it will be because you started off with it being the wrong size. Now notice I'm making it very light and sketchy, because I know I'm going to erase about 80% of this oval later. And then making it sketchy helps you be able to adjust it and make it the shape that you want it and the size. So again, notice it fills up everything on those 2 squares except for the corners, and that is what I wanted. So that is step 1. Step 2 is to draw his head. Notice his head, the top of it is in these top 2 boxes. That's this box this box. So I'm going to make an arched line, which means a curved line that goes across both of those and connects with the right side of that oval. So I know that it's going to come out of my oval like this. It's going to come to about here. It'll come up about that high on the fold. And so again, I'm just doing it light and sketchy so I can adjust it and make it look the way I want. And I'll also have the power to erase it if I need to. Okay, so now it looks kind of funny. I do acknowledge that. You basically have an oval with this coming out. To me, it kind of reminds me of like a fishing pole or a fishing rod coming out. And that's the top of his head. Next, we are going to work on what's going to be his nose and the beginning of his mouth. So we're going to bring that line in and in towards the intersection of these four squares. So I'm going to bring it in and again do it light and sketchy so you can adjust it and change it as needed. And at first it looks really funny. It looks like we're starting to draw an aardvark or something. But just stay with me, don't give up on me. Then we're going to do the bottom half of his mouth. We are doing this part right here. It looks almost like a little wave coming out of the side. But notice where it is in this box. So I'm going to put my pencil right about here. And I recommend that you do the same. Okay. And then we're going to take it, we're going to go up, in, and down. Notice how connected to the oval. It looks kind of like an S that is laying on its side, kind of tilted and almost upside down. Then I'm going to put my pencil on the end of this again, and I'm going to bring it up. Actually, I need to bring this S up a little more because it's making me realize I didn't have enough room to make that turn for his mouth. And now I'm going to bring it in, and I'm going to connect it to this, which is going to be his nose. And again, notice how, because I did it light and sketchy, I'm able to adjust it and change it as I need to as I'm drawing it. Okay, so hopefully you're kind of starting to see it. You can draw a little bit of a line here because that is his or her chin. And then it'll make more sense in a few minutes. Now we're going to do his nose. On mine is coming up a little too high here. So I'm going to bring that in a little bit. And again, that's why we draw light and sketchy. So we have the power to change it and adjust it as we need to. And I'm going to bring this in a little more. And again, keep in mind, just because I'm changing mine a little bit doesn't mean that you need to. Yours could be just fine. All right, so now we're going to add some teeth. Now the teeth that are on the outside of his or her mouth are going to be the largest. And then as we go in, the teeth are going to get smaller. Same thing up here. Okay. We're also going to draw a tongue. Godzilla's mad. And so he's sticking his tongue out and screaming. And if you look at the shape of his tongue, it looks like a little worm sticking out. Okay. Now this part is a little more advanced. If this step confuses you, you don't have to do it. But if you're in 3rd or 4th grade, you may want to give it a try. If we want to make the inside of his mouth look a little more three-dimensional, I'm going to pretend like I'm drawing the other side of the mouth coming up under the tongue there. It's going to be covered up by the tongue, so I don't have to draw much. And I can draw little teeth. That's for the other side of his mouth. And that just gives it a little bit of a three-dimensional look. But again, you don't have to do that if that confuses you. All right, so now let's draw their eye. The eye is going to be right here. And I'm going to draw a line that looks like I'm drawing an eyebrow. But I'm not, because of course lizards don't have eyebrows. Instead, I'm going to draw a half circle coming out of it with a smaller half circle inside. This will be shaded in darker. And then I'm going to draw another line above it that again looks like an eyebrow, but it's actually just more of his eyelid. And then on the other side, let me kind of clean up this line a little bit for the shape of his head. And I'm just doing this to help you see on the video. And then you'd see a little bit of the eye from the other side because he has kind of bulging eyes. Okay, bring that down a little bit. All right, so now let's go ahead while we're on the head and draw our Godzilla's crown. Now the crown is important if you're one of my students and it's February of 2021. We're learning about Jean-Michel Basquiat, and he liked to put crowns on his art. So on top of Godzilla's head, we are drawing a crown. Because Jean-Michel is, like a band on my paper, it's making it hard to draw, is a Black American artist. All right, so I am erasing the parts of the head so the crown overlaps. And I'm going to clean this up a little bit. I had something under my paper that messed up my lines. All right, and now we're going to come down and we are going to work on the arms. But first, we need to erase this part of the oval because we wouldn't have that anymore because that's where the head and the neck and the body meet. And I like to kind of come in and clean that up a little bit, make it look a little more natural. I don't like how his chin's coming in like that, so I'm going to try to fix that. But again, you probably don't need to fix that. Yours is probably fine. And this will be his little back. We will add the little scales later, but that's actually the last thing we're going to draw. All right, so now we're going to draw his arms. Now his arms are a little awkward when we're drawing them. They're going to begin right here where this curve for his neck is, right where the curve's like ending. It's going to come out right there where I made that little mark. And it's going to come down to where this fold is here, like right in the middle of where that is. So I'm making a little dot there. So from here to here, and it's going to make a curved line. It's like just a slight curve. And I'm going to bring my line down just a bit so I can make it curve a little more. And then at the end of the line is where I'm going to make his hand. And I'm going to make like a little lizard-like hand. Remember, it doesn't have to be perfect. And then he has a line for the other side of his arm that kind of comes in like this. I'll clean it up a little bit here in the middle. And there is arm number 1. And this is one of the few parts of his body where that original oval will stay. Now over here, he's going to have another arm, but it's overlapping on his body right here. It's going to begin, notice I'm on this square now. It's going to begin right about here, and it's going to go to right here on the fold, but it's going to be a wavy line. It's going to wave up and then turn and go that way. All right, so if you use your imagination, you can see how it looks kind of like an S again that's been stretched out. Okay, then right here is where his little hand is going to be. And you just draw it similar to how you drew the other one. And then he has his other side of his arm. It begins right here on the edge of the oval, and it comes down and it meets right here. And so it kind of comes from like the thumb-like curves just a little. All right, I don't like how this looks like he has a lump on his hand, so I'm going to fix that. But again, you probably don't need to do that. All right. And I always feel like this arm looks funny. And if you feel the same way, try to not worry about it because it is what it is. All right, so there we go. He's got 2 arms. Now we're going to do the tail. The tail is going to begin right here at the bottom of the oval. And it also comes out right here on this side of the oval, just under the arm. And it's going to come out. It's going to go down, up, and right to here. So I'm going to kind of come and I'm going to go out, up, and turn like that. Make it blend in with your oval kind of naturally and seamlessly. Don't let it be just like a right in there. And then here, like that. All right, now it looks really funny right now. First of all, erase this part of your oval. And right now, we were saying in 4th grade, I was in there a few minutes ago, and we're saying it looks kind of like a ghost, like a Godzilla ghost. And if that's what you wanted it to be, you could stop at this point. But it's just because he doesn't have his legs yet. All right, so now we're going to draw our legs. Now, the legs are going to come out higher than you probably would expect them to. Like, if I would have just been drawing this on my own out of my head, I probably would have started the legs right down here. Okay, but his legs are really big and wide, so they're actually going to start right up here where his belly is, just under the arm. And they're going to come out. It's like a big curve to about here. And then it curves back in, past the fold, and down a little. Okay, and then right here is where the foot is going to be. And his little toes come out. And I think you have like the bottom of the foot here. And then you have the other side of his leg. Kind of comes in from the foot and goes right about there. So it's really big and wide. I feel like this needs to come up a little more though. I feel like it was too wide. I don't remember, too chubby. All right, so there's one leg. If you like doing the little claws, add those. I like doing that. And then we have the other leg. The other leg's going to be right here, and it's going to overlap his body. And it's kind of like a drumstick, like a really big, wide drumstick. So I've got the line on the left. Notice how it curves and turns. I've got one over here, but it's lower. It doesn't come up as high. Okay. And then it comes down to about this point, and that is where you would draw his little toes. Okay, you would erase where his leg overlaps that part of the original oval. Okay, and boom, look at our Godzilla. Turned out pretty good. All right, so now we're going to draw the little spikes. Now there's lots of different ways you can draw the spikes. You do not have to draw them the same way I do. And if there's anything else you want to change on your Godzilla, now would be a good time to do it. I have some of the kids up here in person. Some of the girls have wanted to make theirs a girl, and that's perfectly fine if you want to do that. Some have wanted them to be breathing fire out. Some have wanted to add something to your picture. You're the artist. You can do all those things. The only thing I don't want you to do is get rid of your crown, because we're doing that for Jean-Michel Basquiat. I'm not positive I'm saying his last name right. In fact, I'm probably not. I never took French. I took Spanish. All right, so there is our awesome Godzilla. And now the next step would be Sharpie. Okay, so I got my 2 Sharpies. I have a little Sharpie pen. If you have one of these, or if you have a regular black pen, it might be a good idea to get that out for any of the really teeny tiny areas, especially the teeth. Like, I'm going to use mine where I did the teeth on the other side, and they're so small. I don't want to lose them and then become a big black blob. I'm also doing it where their little claws are. And again, you don't have to do this. It's just what I'm choosing to do. And then for everything else, I'm going to use the regular black Sharpie. I'm also going to give mine a little eyelashes. Kind of like the guy's daughter on Art for Kids Hub. I love adding eyelashes to my different things that I draw. But again, you do not have to. I messed a few of those up. I'm going to try and not worry about that too much. And then for the rest of it, I'm going to use my regular Sharpie. Be sure to outline their crown, because Jean-Michel Basquiat always outlined it with black. Well, I guess I shouldn't say always, but most of the time. And then a lot of times would color it in yellow. He did sometimes use other colors, so it doesn't have to be yellow, but you definitely want to outline it with a nice bold line. All right, now I am going to fast forward to finish my Sharpie. I recommend that you hit pause and finish your Sharpie, and then I will show you the next step that we are going to do. So I'm going to fast forward beginning. I just took a snapshot. All right, I'm going to fast forward beginning now. Okay, so I finished Sharpieing and I did my erasing. Don't forget or skip the erasing, because you need to do that, especially since we drew really light and sketchy. You probably had or have quite a bit of pencil on there, so be sure and take the time to do it properly and erase your pencil. Okay, so I am getting my colored pencils out and together. I am using my Prismacolor pencils because I got those a few weeks ago and I love them. If you're in 3rd grade and up, I highly, highly, highly recommend them. Prismacolor. You can see the writing there. Okay. If you're 2nd grade or younger, it might not be the best use of your money because they are quite expensive. I bought a case like this. It was a case of 24, and it was about $40, which is kind of a lot for colored pencils. If you're older and you're taking your art seriously, it's worth the money. If you're younger though, and you're still kind of coloring a little messy, it might not be the best use of your money. So obviously that's between you and your parents. I just noticed the black part of their eye is a little off, so I'm fixing it with my black Prismacolor. I also could have fixed it with my Sharpie. And so now I'm going to color it. Now I am going to make mine. I'm going to make the body of Godzilla with these different shades of purple. I'm going to do the scales with these different shades of orange and yellow. The tongue will be red. His eyeball will be green, and the crown will be yellow. And I'm going to leave his toenails white. Okay, so like starting out with my red, I need to sharpen it a little bit, and this is the best sharpener I have ever found. This is the brand, and it has a hole here for like regular pencils, like your drawing pencils. And then you have another hole here that's a little bigger. You could use it for regular pencils, but you can also use it for your colored pencils. And it holds them in the little container. The top doesn't accidentally come off, which with other sharpeners, as you know, they fall off all the time. I highly, highly, highly recommend it. I got it on Amazon. I bought it when I bought my Prismacolors, which I also bought on Amazon. But you could also get them at Hobby Lobby, Michael's, anywhere they sell art supplies. Okay, so now I'm doing the tongue. Notice I'm pressing down pretty hard with my red. I don't want to press down so hard I break it. And then that way also you can't really see what direction you've colored, which eliminates the problem of changing directions. And that's one lovely thing about pencils, but you have to press down. Otherwise, if you color lightly, you can still see what direction. So there's his or her tongue. And then the eye, as you can see, this one's already very nicely sharpened. Coloring it green. I'm not going to color it black because you would be able to see it on there. So a nice green eye. She looks cute. All right, and then I'm going to do the crown with this yellow. It says canary yellow. And notice I'm using the one that says for graphite, but that's okay. Look how nice that is. And I'm going going to color the crown solid yellow. Another cool thing about these Prismacolors is, as you know, when you buy crayons, markers, colored pencils, you run out of some colors and then you still have tons. Like you always have tons of yellows and, you know, browns, but you run out of your blues and your greens. If you go to Michael's, they sell Prismacolors individually. So say I use up all of this yellow and I need another canary yellow. I can go to Michael's to the aisle where they have the Prismacolors and I can buy just a yellow. And it's a little over $1, which is really nice because you go through those quickly. You go through your white quickly. You can go and just buy a white. You can also buy what they call a colorless blender. That helps you blend colors, but I actually prefer the white over that for blending colors. Now they also have what they call Scholar Prismacolors. Sorry, I'm losing my voice. Don't waste your money on these. If you're going to buy these, just go ahead and buy the Crayola brand and save yourself a lot of money. So if it has the word Scholar on it, don't buy it. Just go ahead and buy some Crayola. All right, for the scales, I'm going to use Goldenrod. It's like a darker yellow. And then, like I said, I'm going to color his or her body purple. I'm going to go ahead and fast forward. You can hit pause, finish coloring your Godzilla. Remember, do not scribble. And then we will talk about the background. If your background's still blank, leave it blank for now. And after we've got our Godzilla colored, we will talk about that. So hit pause, and I'm going to fast forward beginning now. Okay, so as you can see, I finished coloring my Godzilla, but I wanted to show you a couple of things real quick. First of all, I want to show you the purple I used to color Godzilla. I know under the camera it looks kind of like a blue, but in reality it's a lighter purple, kind of a lavender almost. Now with your Godzilla, you can choose absolutely any color in the world you want to use. I just chose purple. But I wanted to show you how much it used of my pencil, because it was like this, and now it's like this. One of the reasons Prismacolors work so well and look so good is because they have a very soft lead, which puts a lot of pigment or color onto your paper, which is what you want, but it does get used up really fast. So it's something you need to think about when you're coloring. You want to make sure you have enough, kind of like a marker. You want to make sure your marker isn't going to dry out before you color a big space. And then, like I mentioned before, you can go to Michael's and go to their Prismacolor section, and you can buy just one pencil. So like I could go after school today and I could go buy just this pencil. And it's like $1.25, somewhere in that neighborhood. So you don't have to go and buy a whole case of Prismacolors again. What most people do is they'll buy like their first case and then they just add to it from there. And then, of course, if there's a color that didn't come in yours that you wished you had, you could go and buy that as well. Now, what I have here is this one is just violet, as in purple, and this one is violet blue, which is like a blue violet or blue purple. And I am going to use them just to do a little bit of shading on here. I'm not going to do too much shading because I don't want to get too off track on my picture, but I just wanted to show you guys that. Now, if you are in 3rd or 4th grade, this is something that you're possibly ready for. If you're younger than 3rd grade, you may not quite be there yet. And if you don't feel ready, you don't have to do the shading. But I have this color. Notice how it is darker than the other purple. And I can take it, I start at the black line. I'm pressing down harder as I'm close to the black line. And as I move away from it, I am letting up on the pencil a little bit and not pressing down as hard. And that allows me to do a little bit of shading. And notice the direction I'm going. I'm going with a little bit of a curve because I'm trying to show the shape of the leg. Because in real life, I mean, obviously Godzilla is not real, but if he was real, or like we take a lizard or something like that, they would have some form to their leg, meaning it is three-dimensional. And so the shading helps bring that across. So the closer I am to the black line, the darker I'm pushing down, the harder I'm pushing down. And then as I move away, I'm letting up. So I can do that a little bit. I can do it over here as well. And this is another thing that Prismacolors are really, really good for, especially as you guys get older. I love seeing what the kids up at the high school do with their Prismacolors. It's just amazing. When my oldest son was in high school, he took AP Art, which means Advanced Placement Art, and he did some of the most amazing things with his Prismacolors. I loved seeing what they could do. So as you get older, if you stick with art, it's something you may want to think about. Okay, so I'm going to go around just a few different places on my picture, and I'm going to add a little bit of shading. I'm not going to go too crazy cuckoo with it. If you want to do some shading on yours, feel free. If you don't want to, you can go ahead and skip to the next part. So I'm going to fast forward beginning now. Okay, so I'm done coloring my Godzilla, and now we are ready to do the background. Now, first of all, you do not have to do your background just like mine. If you want to do yours a little different, that is certainly fine. I am going to make mine look like a city skyline, because a lot of the Godzilla movies, he's in a city, most of the time Tokyo, and he's destroying the city, basically. He's downtown. But there's so many Godzilla movies. I don't even know how many there are. But that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a skyline, and I'm just kind of doing a random skyline, not a particular city or anything. But if you want to do something different, you certainly can. If you're doing what I'm doing, you want to make a horizon line, and I am using the folds that we did to help me with my horizon line. So this is where we folded our paper before. And so that's the horizon, that's where the sky and the ground touch. So everything from here down will be the ground or the straight. And then above it will be the skyline. I'm going to start off, this is going to be like a short building here. And it's going to slope down at an angle. And then it's going to come straight up. And this is going to be a tall building that comes to a point. It's also going to be a skinny building. And it's going to come to a point here, like a triangle. And I'm going to make a little, triangle's a little off there. And then I'm going to put a little like radio antenna up there. Okay. And then next to this one, I'm going to make kind of what looks almost like a bridge coming across, but it's not. And there's going to be a skyrise building next door. I guess in reality, this would be like a shorter building in between them. And this one is going to come down at an angle and then come straight down. And he's covering up a lot of the details of this city, which makes it a little easier for you with the drawing. Okay. And then I'm going to leave that there the way it is. Over here, I'm going to draw a building. It's coming in here. And it's going to come down at just a little bit of an angle. And then drop straight down like that. All right. And then another building here is covering up most of this building with his body. But we're going to be able to see just a little bit of it here. Coming up, it is a building that is going to, kind of like the Empire State Building. It has like a bunch of levels and what look like almost steps there. And then there's a little antenna here that'll pretty much be hidden. So you don't see much of it. I feel like this space is empty and it shouldn't be. Let's do like kind of a medium-sized building here. Okay. And then you can just kind of do some random windows here and there. This line is actually accidental, but I like that. I'm going to make a round thing here. But you could just kind of do the little abstract windows and just kind of shade them in a little bit. So basically you're going to finish drawing your city, Sharpie, and then add some color. All right, and like I said, if you want to be a little abstract with it, you can. That's what I'm going to do. Or I'm just kind of implying where the windows and some things are. I'm not drawing every single one on there. And I'm drawing the rooftops and things like that. Okay. Forgot what I was going to say though. Oh, and again, if you wanted to do something different, that's totally fine. You don't have to do the same thing that Miss Thompson's doing. Like there was one Godzilla movie where he was in the mountains and stuff, so you don't have to do the same thing as me. But do Sharpie it and color it. So I am going to fast forward to Sharpie, erase, and color, and then we can come back and finish this project up. Okay, so I'm going to fast forward beginning now. Okay, and that's it. There's my Godzilla with my background done. I did the little heart in the sky because I actually saw that online and I thought that's cute, even though it doesn't necessarily mean anything. Obviously, we don't have hearts flying around in the sky, but I just thought that was cute. And that's basically it. I kind of regret making mine purple because I feel like between the sky and the ground, that's just a lot of cool colors and, not enough warm colors, basically. If I had to do it again, I would definitely choose a different color. I think green would be nice because there's not a lot of green anywhere else. So that would be nice and help it stand out, or really any color. You could even make your Godzilla rainbow if you want. It's your picture, you're the artist, you can do what you want. I did just notice something I completely missed though. Look and see if you can see what I didn't color. There's something I just completely forgot and I left it white. I'm curious if you can see it. I'm grabbing what I need to take care of it. It is right here, the inside of his mouth. Remember, this is where we drew the inside of his mouth to look a little more three-dimensional. And I totally forgot to color that when I was coloring everything. There we go. What a difference. Just kidding. But it does look better. All right, and so that's basically it. Just like we always do, you can use the art show form to show me your picture, or you can email it to me. And that's basically it. If you somehow missed all the info with the book, because the artist we're learning about this week is Jean-Michel Basquiat, and he's the reason why we're adding the crowns to stuff. And that's what this book is about. So if you skipped the part with the book, please, please, please go back so you can learn about him, because he's the artist we're learning about for our third week of Black History Month, and I don't want anyone to miss out on that. Okay, so be sure you don't skip that. And next week we will be learning about a different artist and drawing some important figures from history, American history for Black History Month. For example, Rosa Parks, Ruby Bridges, Harriet Tubman, and you'll get to choose who you do a drawing of. But we can talk more about that next week. But for now, that's it. Godzilla is saying goodbye to you. I'll hopefully see you guys soon. Thanks. Bye.